ASP.NET can develop in the future. First and foremost, from my own point of view, I would prefer that a lot of networking is done between country and another country, because locally I may not be doing very well, but if I call people from other countries, or I go to them, for example, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, who are our neighbors, if I would have some exchange programs with them, I think I would improve my skills. Equally, I was of the opinion that ASP.NET needs a regional coordinator who will come to us, who will come to us and find out, how are you moving on? How are you, what are the challenges? How can we chip in, such. But when you are left like that on your own and you're stuck, you are unable to get yourself out of the mud. So we need to really to network more closely, and we need somebody to evaluate what we are doing. We also need somebody to quality assure us, by coming to where we are. That way we shall be able to succeed. And more so, a forum like this, we have learned quite a lot. I'm only 1 year old in ASP.NET, and I've learned a lot from the presentations.
Wow.
I think the success is reflected by engagement. So when schools participate in student symposia, or teachers and or principals attend meetings, but that's a small part of it. I think it's very important that right at student level they have time to reflect. So if they have planned something, if they've looked, it's a cycle, if they've looked at who are we, where have we come from, what do we already do, what action would we like to take, often I think children and young adults don't have reflection time. So they need time to say, well, how did this work? How did we feel about this? Did we achieve something? And then I like to hear their stories come back to me, and that helps formulate what kind of support I can give back to those schools and to those teachers.
Some of the things that I've been doing in the school where I teach is just enabling students to connect globally through uses of Skype and face-to-face contact, which is really nice for them to be able to see how other schools work, and for other schools to be able to comment on what they're doing as well. One recent project we did, the children were working together on, and we actually interviewed a school in Australia and got them to share experiences and talk about best ways that they could do their projects, and different pooling of resources, and that's through video conferencing and just using different medias like that. So I think it's important for ASP.NET schools to get feedback and connect and see other ways of doing things as well.
Therefore, we have to use ICT, for example. We might have to introduce and use apps. Young people today, they're on their phone and they like to use apps. So we might have to have an apps for ASP.NET where young people can get information. So we have to be creative so more people can be interested, because nowadays young people, they use a lot of technology, including apps on their phone and their texting, so to see how that can become a part of the program moving forward.
As I said, ITC is one way of going about it. The other way is the ASP.NET UNESCO should be very bold now and in going about announcing to the world that if schools and if education are disrupted through disasters and through natural and man-made disasters and conflicts, UNESCO must be bold enough to tell the world that students have a right to education, that schools should be protected at all times. This was the case with in regards to national and world heritage sites when they were damaged and destroyed during human conflicts. And UNESCO had taken a stance to make announcements all over the world that those actions were not correct. Now, likewise, if schools are damaged during conflicts, UNESCO ASP.NET must take the opportunity to announce that schools should be protected and children should be protected.
One of the good practices is we started training the headmasters and school principals along with the national coordinators. And after those national trainings about ASP.NET and its operations, life started getting easier for the national coordination, because the heads know what the coordinators are saying. And again, in addition to that, we provided some funds gave some funds to all the schools, associated schools, gave it to the headmasters so that they can open bank accounts for the ASP nets, which was done, so that when they have money, they can bank it in. So we gave them seed money to start up with.
Just add here that if we can make some incentives for the schools who are doing the good practices for the ASP.NET programs, it's not a huge amount, or it's not a huge recognition we need to give them, not necessary, but a very small amount, very small recognition, even a certificate can bring a very good outcome here.
We hope at the end to create good practices. This is what we try to do by working in ASP.NET program, is to create, to develop, to encourage good practices toward all these themes, whether it's global citizenship or whatever another thing.
ASP.NET can continue to develop its programs if it's connected to the mother body, to the UNESCO, and maybe we have some kind of funding from UNESCO. Yes, because many governments don't have money to sponsor the activities of ASP.NET. So it would be of good that the UNESCO mother body come hand in hand with the ASP.NET in terms of financing the projects or the activities of the club.
The success or to make the program is more actively, I think the keys are three things. The first thing is the principal initiative is very important, and secondly, teachers' enthusiasm. And the last and the most important thing is students very active participating. This is a very to make our network. At the same time, our National Commission is also managed very systematic operating to quality management of ASP.NET membership. This is another key to make a success the ASP.NET in Korea.
I think it's very important to bring young people in, and we see it today with young people that come in front and speak about their wishes and their hopes for the future. I think this will be the big step in the next time to involve young people, that they take an active part, because it's their future and they must be in also in the workshops as active parts. I think that's the way we have to go in the next years.
And we need the schools and we need the teachers and the parents as well to work together to know about the UNESCO profiles of the schools and what UNESCO ASP.NET is like. Well, for the last 60 years it has been developed, and it still needs to be developing and to take the challenges of the future to become global citizens.
Thank you.